So earlier this week, an appellate court issued a decision allowing the prosecutors to seek the death penalty against rapper YNW Melly. Let's get into the details. My name is Jamall Kersey. I'm the principal attorney at Kersey Law, a boutique criminal defense firm in San Diego, California. It is Friday. It is Veterans Day, so I'm a little casual today. Shout out to all my veterans. I'm the only one up in this building working, but you know how we do. Let's get into it. Jamell Demons, so the 23-year-old rapper, he's better known as YNW Melly. If you've been following this case, it should have gone to trial back in July, but the reality is when you have cases this serious, like your homicides, complex drug cases, complex gang indictments, so the case like Young Thug and Gunna, cases like that, you are going to have dates get pushed back multiple times. And some of the reasons why that happens is you might have discovery issues. So in these type of cases, you are going to have hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of pages of discovery. And so the lawyers have to review it, the paralegals have to review it, you have to review that evidence with your client so you can get their take on it. So, that takes time. Then there's going to be legal issues that you have to sort through. You're going to have ongoing investigation. So your defense investigator is going to be going out looking for favorable witnesses, interviewing those people, preparing statements. The police may still be conducting investigation, coming up with new witnesses. In these type of cases, you are going to have snitches. So you're going to have people that, the state ends up flipping, dealing with those type of issues. And you're going to have just back and forth ongoing negotiations and the like. So, cases getting pushed back is not uncommon at all. So in this case, YNW Melly's lawyers made the argument that the prosecutors should not be able to seek the death penalty due to improper notice. And so Florida law requires prosecutors to file a notice of intent to seek the death penalty. And it is, as the name implies, it's just a document indicating that they intend to seek the death penalty. And this has to be done within 45 days of an indictment. So the judge ended up agreeing with the defense, and the judge ruled that the prosecutors could not seek the death penalty in this case. And so obviously this is a huge win for the defense. But the prosecutors were not just going to take this ruling. They decided to take the issue up on appeal. So it ended up going to an appellate court. So the parties seeking to appeal, they're going to file their notice of appeal. Then there's going to be a transcript generated of everything that was said in court, and you're going to get a copy of the motions, basically everything, and you'll then file your appellate brief. The other side gets an opportunity to respond to your appellate brief. The appealing party gets to file a reply. At that point, there's going to be a panel of judges. They're going to review all the information and make a ruling. So the prosecutors had timely filed a notice after the original indictment. There had been a superseding indictment, which basically means that there's a new indictment that takes the place of the previous one. And so the superseding indictment had included a gang allegation. They were alleging that the crime was committed with the purpose of benefiting, promoting, or furthering the interest of a criminal street gang. After the superseding indictment, the prosecutors did not file a new notice of intent to seek the death penalty. The appellate court issued their ruling this week, and they basically found that the prosecutors did in fact act properly. They said that, hey, they properly notified the court of their intention to seek the death penalty, and they weren't required to provide a new notification just because there was a new indictment. So they're basically saying that the rules do not require a new notice to the defendant that the state's seeking the death penalty. They had already complied with the notice requirement. Filing a new indictment doesn't require a new notice. The reason the notice requirement exists basically is to give people who are possibly facing the death penalty, it gives them an opportunity to prepare. So a lot of times when you're fighting a death penalty case, there's going to be psychological evaluations. There's going to be a lot of information that you are compiling and ultimately presenting to the judge in order to avoid your client being put to death. So that's why the notice requirement exists, to give the defense an opportunity to get their ducks in a row, to make the argument just in case the issue ends up coming up. What the appellate court had gone on to say was that, hey, you've been on notice since 2019. The prosecution, they had filed their notice back in 2019 after the indictment. And so, there is no prejudice here. You've been on notice. They've met their requirements. We're not going to take away their ability to seek the death penalty. So if you weren't aware of what was going on in this case, basically YNW Melly and Cortland YNW Bortland Henry, they were charged with the murders of Anthony Williams, aka YNW Sack Chaser, and Christopher Thomas, aka YNW Juvie. So the prosecutors basically alleged that prior to the incident, they had all been at a recording studio in Fort Lauderdale, and in the early morning hours of October 26th, 2018, they had left the studio altogether in a Jeep Compass, and YNW Bortland was behind the wheel. YNW Melly is alleged to have shot and killed both Williams and Thomas, and they drove them to the hospital where they're admitted to the ER and pronounced dead there. And basically, YNW Melly and YNW Bortland, they're alleged to have basically tried to stage the crime scene to look like a drive-by. So Bortland ends up reporting the incident to the police, basically saying, there was this drive-by, but not understanding that there is going to be a whole team, crime scene investigators, forensics that are going to analyze everything that you say and analyze everything that is at this crime scene and try and put this thing together. And ultimately, the story just did not line up with the evidence, and that's what led to them both getting arrested and charged back in February of 2019. If the prosecutors are able to secure a conviction against YNW Melly in this case, then that means, this court ruling that just came down means that they would be able to seek the death penalty. But, the issue is going to go up to the Florida Supreme Court because it's been deemed an issue of great public importance, naturally so. We'll see how they ultimately rule. This is a very tough situation because, I just really can't see the Florida Supreme Court ruling the defense's way. Again, they had been put on notice back in 2019. So, it's an argument that at least, should have been attempted. I applaud them for, picking apart everything that they can in order to zealously advocate for their client. But I really don't see them being successful on this one. So it'll end up going to trial. And then, if he's convicted of the murders, then the issue of the death penalty will come next. So if you got something out of this, please show me some love. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notifications so you never miss a new video when it drops. As always, I want to thank you so much for watching. And until next time, peace.